Welcome back to my channel. I'm a South Louisiana bull rider. I'm 16. I've been riding for a while over a year, not super long, but and I ride senior bulls now. I started off on junior, uh, and today I want to talk about something very serious that I don't think enough people talk about, especially people who have friends that rodeo or people who do rodeo and have friends that don't. This is something that I really want people to take into consideration. And this is something I've been thinking about a lot recently. And this is from people I know who have quit rodeo for these reasons and people who I speculate for these reasons. I'm not going to talk about anyone in particular. I'm talking about my experiences and a lot of experiences with mentality, injuries, and just the overall violence in this sport that I think people before they decide they want to become a bull rider, before they decide they're like, I want to ride this animal. Before you do this, I want people to be passionate about the sport, but I also want people to realize the risk of this sport before you get into this, because this sport is so much money, it's so much time, it's so much dedication, and this isn't me sugarcoating this. You can die, and a lot of people have died doing this sport. They take all the safety precautions, but sometimes things happen. And this is a conversation that if you are a beginner in rodeo needs to be had, or you're thinking about getting into it, or specifically bull riding. I'm going to talk about bull riding and kind of rough stock sports a little bit, but mainly bull riding. I'm a bull rider. That's all I know. That's all I do. But I'll try to talk about everything, because you can just as well die on a saddle brown course or a bareback course. And this is a conversation that needs to be had. First off, if you want to get into this sport, do not be scared of pain. Do not let fear, if you're the type of person that fear can control you easily, if you're not, this can help you with that, but it can also make that worse. Me, for instance, I used to be scared when riding bulls. I really used to. And it was a very strange thing. When it clicked for me, I always knew, yeah, I could die doing this, but, it's not going to happen to me. It's so rare that it's totally not going to happen to me. When I was like that, I couldn't acknowledge, and I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared that I should have been. I was scared for the wrong reasons. But ever since I acknowledged I could legit die at any moment doing this sport, when I accepted that and acknowledged that and realized that's just who I am, that's when I lost fear in this. So that's when I stopped being scared of riding the rank bulls or all this and that. That's when that fear left me, is when I acknowledged truly the dangers of this sport, how dangerous it is. Not just from broken bones, bruises, I'm talking about death. And that is something that a lot of people want to shy away from, but it needs to be thought about, it needs to be prayed about. I really suggest, if you are getting on the back of a bull, you have God in your heart, because you'd be foolish not to. You'd be foolish to not have a religious influence in your life. And not believing in a higher power doesn't make sense. I am a Christian full through. I know Jesus is my Lord and Savior, and that's part of the reason I'm able to ride, knowing that I can die any moment. That's part of the reason I'm not scared, is because I trust that whatever happens is His will. Now, another thing with talking about this and injuries is money. Not even just stuff like hospital bills and medication bills and all this and that. I'm talking about stuff like buying gear. When you first get into the sport, some people buy gear before they ever even hop on a bull. I did. I spent a lot of money on it, and which was so stupid of me looking back on it. It was such a foolish thing that I did. I got all this gear, but even before I rode bulls, I had the mentality of this is what I want. And if you have that mentality, you better make sure it doesn't leave you when you need it, because if you spend a bunch of money on this, then what are you going to do with the gear after? Yeah, you can sell it, but you'll never make all that money back. So when you're buying gear, or when you want to find out if this is what you want to do, go to a practice pin, borrow gear. Don't enter in a rodeo. That's a terrible idea. That's how a young kid, I think he was 14, died in North Carolina. He died because he just entered in a rodeo, got on a rank bull, boom, he's killed because he had no prior experience before doing that. You see, things is, for practice pins, you can get on the easy bull and figure out the motions and all this and that. When you're in a rodeo, you have to get the bull that they roll in for you, or you drop out the rodeo. That's about it. And then for me, when I show up to a rodeo, I'm ready to get on any bull they load in for me. That's the mentality that you have to have. But if you don't have any prior experience and they load in the rankest bull in the circuit and you come out front flipping and you get horned in the chest and die, that's a real possibility. And people don't like to talk about that, but it's a conversation that needs to be had. Another thing is, with the money, is just get cheap gear, get used gear. If you're deciding, oh, I don't want to borrow gear, get cheap gear, get used gear, rent gear if you fucking can. Do anything that you can to stop yourself from spending as much money. Get a used rope. On Facebook Marketplace, they sell stuff like that. Sometimes at eBay, they sell used stuff. Focus on your essential pieces of gear. Now, when it comes into riding in the sport, it's a very dangerous sport. You need to learn, am I going to ride with a hat? Am I going to ride with a helmet? Because I would suggest start off with a helmet. I still ride with a helmet. Granted, I don't ride the best, but, I still, I want to put on my cowboy hat sometimes and just get in the chute, but I ride with a helmet. Safety reasons, I've been horned in the head and head-butted a lot of bulls. It's just, I already have head injuries before riding bulls, so when I started riding bulls, it was just like a situation of, okay, I have to wear a helmet, kind of. Not everyone is going to, but if I would suggest do it, I would. And if you're beginning and you're like, okay, what am I gonna buy? Don't buy chaps. Don't forget chaps. Chaps are out the picture when you first start. Don't think about them. Yeah, you can see those beautiful chaps that look awesome. You can just see yourself in your head riding beautiful with them. Don't focus on that. Focus on a vest. Okay, you don't have to get the best vest, but get something that you know is gonna save your life if you need it. If there's a situation that calls for it, get something that you know you can trust. I wouldn't say get a leather vest. I would say get a canvas vest, but don't cheap out and get some cheap little ranky-danky vest. Like, when you first start riding, get a Phoenix, get a Ride Right, get a crooked horn or whatever it's called, or something, or even a Hilson. But be careful what gear you buy. Don't overpay and don't underpay. That's another thing. Leather vest, don't buy a leather vest when you first start off because they're more expensive. Unless you're buying a Hilson. Hilsons are very cheap. I would suggest get a Phoenix, Ride Right, or even a crooked horn. But if you are going to get a Hilson, you could just, at that point, get a leather vest if you're getting a Hilson. Because they're overall cheap. They're not very much money. They're about the price of a canvas Phoenix. They're actually cheaper, I think, than a canvas Phoenix. So if you are going to get a Hilson, might as well just get a leather vest. And then helmets. Helmets are a big thing. I cheaped out when I got my helmet. I wish I wouldn't have. Beastmasters, it's still a good helmet, but it's just painted. Just no, you can't find this there. But I got a hockey helmet, just a normal Bauer helmet, not even the nice expensive ones. I just got a cheap helmet because, I was cheaping out. Wish I didn't, but I did. And but that's the reality of the situation, is that, I got a cheaper helmet, and I've suffered injuries to my head because of it. Now, granted, if I didn't have it, I'd be in a lot worse condition, but yeah, just still in general. Also, another thing for beginners, please, if you're wearing a helmet, wear this chin strap. Wear this, because I've seen helmets come off of people's head. I've seen them fly open, and the whole helmet will take off. I'd rather please just wear this strap, okay, for beginners. You know, it'll save you, it will save your parents when they're watching you and they're going, oh shit, or the bullfighters when they're like, oh, are we gonna have to carry this dude out of the arena? It can, granted, you can still get knocked out and killed with this on. Don't think that this saves you. As much safety gear as you put on, it's still a risk of dying is every time you crawl in that chute, even with an easy bull ride. That's just reality, and you need to accept that. But thing is, helmet, get a decent helmet. Get a good vest. Another thing is, you don't need nice boots. Get some cheap boots and some, I wouldn't suggest necessarily, you see, something like Spurs isn't necessarily a safety option, but I wouldn't necessarily cheap out exactly either when getting Spurs, because it is something that directly influences your ride. Now, ropes. Ropes is, when it comes to a rope, it's a very technical, it's very skill-based, it's a tool, but it's also can like end up getting you hung up. If you ride with an American, for instance, get a rope that is right-handed or left-handed. I ride left-handed. I have a left-handed rope now. I almost got hung up all the time. I didn't even ride with that rope for long, but every time I would go flat, I'd feel my hand starting to twist and turn in ways that I don't want it doing. But so make sure you, and then when you do buy used ropes, make sure there's no significant tearing on the rope or handle, because it can pop, and that can end up very bad. If you're riding, and all of a sudden your rope pops and you fly off, and you know, shit can go wrong any second with this sport. But yeah, another thing is, I'm gonna sound like a hypocrite with this one. I don't wear a mouth guard. I would suggest it. I have one. I have it, you know, but I don't wear it. I wish I would wear it more. I always forget. I just do. But if you can, like a good way to not forget, like I have a buddy of mine. I've seen, no one I'm particularly close to, but I have seen people do this, like people I know do it. They'll take a football mouth guard and they'll strap it to their helmet, and they'll put it in their mouth. You can't forget that. See, I got chipped and messed up teeth, and I got TMJ, which is my jaw is not aligned correctly, and I suffer from chronic headaches and jaw popping because of it. So I really gotta start wearing it more, but just like, please, beginners, please wear a mouth guard. You'll bite off your tongue or some shit. That can happen. It probably has. I don't know of a case of it happening, but I bet money it could. Like, this is a sport where everything from, they say this in a documentary I watched, everything from bruising to fatal car injuries, the results. Like, anything can happen. Like, imagine this. Put yourself in this situation. You need to do this. Put yourself in this situation right now. If you're a beginner, you know, don't be scared. That's another thing. Don't be scared. I know what I'm saying is a very scary thing, and this is life and death here, but don't be scared, because that gives the bull power. The bull can sense that. So you just got to man up when you're in the chute. But imagine this. Imagine you're riding, and you take a horn right to your side. Boom. Broken ribs right there. Or this animal comes down and stomps on you. That's a regular thing that happens. Horns and getting stomped on, that's nothing, you know, there's some that are definitely worse than others that aren't common to see, but my third time riding bull ever, I got the center of my spine stomped on. Now, it didn't stop me. I was already in love with the sport at that point. But for sure, make sure that you can mentally envision and acknowledge that you might get seriously hurt, and find out with yourself if you're okay with that. If you are, good. Ride. Be the best damn bull rider in the world. But if not, don't risk it. Don't possibly get seriously hurt or die doing something that you don't truly love. Just make sure what you do is what you love to do, and that you're not just doing something because, oh, you want to be cool or you want to be tough. Do it because you love it. You could take that for a lot of things in life. Like, I raced dirt bikes before I ever rode bulls, and I skateboarded. I did a lot of extreme stuff before this. This is, granted, the most extreme sport I've done, but this is still, you know, you gotta make sure you love it if you're willing to put your life on the line. Make sure you love it. Because the money, everyone I know who's made it big in rodeo, and everyone I know who hasn't made it that big in rodeo, will say the money will go. I can make so much money riding bulls, these people will say. I've made so much money doing it. Not that I can, I have, but listen, the money goes away. This isn't from my own personal experience, this is from other people saying this. There's lots of people. Everyone I know says this that has been a bull rider. The money goes away. If you're riding for the money, it's like it's an expression I'm trying to think of, having fleeting out the weak from the strong, cutting out the weak from the strong. That's gonna happen, and you're gonna see your buddies get hurt, maybe die. You're gonna see your buddies stop, and you're gonna see new buddies come into it, and you're just gonna have to just live with that. And you're gonna have to think and figure out every day that you do this sport if you're the weak or if you're the strong. And I'm not trying to hate on anyone for quitting on this sport. I'm really not. But I don't want people to get seriously hurt and die, and then be like, I didn't really want to do it. I just did it for stupid reasons. Also, another thing is, never do it because you want to impress someone. Don't ever do that. Don't. That's stupid. It's foolish. It's a bad idea. Do it because you love it. That's my real advice. Do it because you love it. Out of everything else, take that. If you've made it this far in the video, take that into consideration. Do something because you love something, and not because it looks cool, or you want to be cool, or you want the fame, you want the glory. All that stuff will go away. But the passion you feel for it, the passion you feel while doing it, that will never go away. Once this is in your blood and you have that passion for it, even if you quit, you'll still have that passion in you. Do it because you love it. Have fun. That's the biggest thing. Have fun. Don't feel forced to do this. If you're feeling forced to do it, then don't do it. Refuse to do it. If you feel like a family member or a friend of yours is forcing you to ride bulls or forcing you to rodeo, don't do it. Because this is too dangerous to have stupid shit like that making a difference. This is too dangerous. It's too dangerous. Quit. But if you love it, do it. Shoot for the moon and above if you love what you're doing. Try to be the best that there is if you love it. But don't risk your life for something stupid. I know I kind of just went on a rant and kind of kept repeating the same things, but I wanted people to understand that and know this, especially because I didn't think about this when I got into rodeo. When I first started getting into rodeo, I was like, I know it was dangerous, but whatever. That's the thing. Nothing scared me. As much as the people told me stuff, it didn't really scare me till I started riding bulls. I got a little scared for a little while, and then I accepted the reality of it, and I haven't been scared since. And that's the reality of the situation. You need to come to terms with that. And if you can, then you're cut out for it. But if you can't come to reality with that, if you can't really sit there and think to yourself, I could die now. Like climbing that chute, you know you could die. If you can't come to terms with that, then there's no point in doing it. But if you can, then, like I said before, this sport is cut out for you. If you have the passion to conquer a beast, then conquer the beast. And God bless everyone. Stay safe, and that's the end of this video. Bye.